please get ready for round one. Let's go. I got through on the wait list. Okay, I'm gonna pull out my red purple Luffy, ready to smack everyone again. Hey guys, iKailaKai here, and yes, that did happen. I made purple Luffy for the video and forgot that I had made it, then went to a tournament, opened my bag and realized I only had purple Luffy. Unfortunately, I didn't win that tournament. I didn't do poorly, but you know, I can say confidently now that I have experience with the deck because I was forced to play 5 rounds with it. My one major thought is that it's not as fun as Red Purple Luffy, although I can definitely say that it is powerful. This deck has been on the rise recently in Japan and has kind of solidified itself as the top 2 deck alongside Doflamingo, but the major advantage of playing Purple Luffy is that it actually has a winning matchup into Doflamingo now. As such, we're going to be going over this matchup, talking about kind of why that's the case because it doesn't seem like it should be the case. And we'll let Doflamingo have first because in this matchup you want to have first. Although Doflamingo's curve now is a bit better going second, taking first is actually better in this matchup now due to the fact that Purple Luffy's moves going first are just incredibly strong. This hand is not necessarily bad, but we are generally looking for things like Jinbei Weevil, and as we have neither, we only have the search. I think that we're going to mulligan this, as we don't necessarily need Hancock as we're going first. Jeez, my hand just fell. Purple Luffy is generally trying to play Zorojiro into something like the 7-cost Luffytaro into another thing that's 5-cost or less. And as we only have the Zorojiro and we have 2 cards that can tend to get stuck in our hand, we are going to be mulliganing this as well. Okay, much better. Both sides have pretty good hands, so we'll see how this goes. Hi, onegaishimasu. Hondo. I'm going to play Buggy and then reorder because I'm going first. If I was going second, I wouldn't do this. And this isn't great, but we can guarantee the extra draw. So I like this. And then enter. Hondo. La, and then search for. I think that I'm going to be focusing on the late game, so I'll take up the Onami. Maybe that's wrong. Entered. Okay. 2 on leader, 7,000 leader, and then leader effect. Flip out Crocodile. Then Crocodile's on play effect, flip over 1 card, and as it's a 7 Warlords, I get to draw 2. And then put 1 card. This card doesn't actually matter because I'm going to draw next turn. 7,000 leader. I'll take 7,000, and then end turn. Let's start with a simple 5,000 Crocodile. I don't particularly want to defend this yet, just because even if it survives, I'm not going to use it for a little while. I'm going to be playing this next turn. My board will fill up, and then I'll hit with it. I'll just let it go, because I'm not sure. Leader effect. Draw 1 life. And add 1 don. And then for 5 don, I will play Sangoro and then enter. Okay. Sangoro is out of the 4-cost law range, which is why I prioritized that over Zorojiro. Now this turn, unfortunately, if he played Zorojiro, I would go Jinbei into law, but as that didn't happen, Jinbei into Weevil's the best. So let's go 6,000 leader, 2k, Jinbei, and then Jinbei, play Weevil, and then Weevil, draw 1 card. Entered. Okay, oh, that's good. Just to be careful of a Gravity Blade trigger, we should probably hit from Sangoro first, so I'll use my leader effect to draw 1, and then gain 1 don. And now I'm at 8 don, so I can get the draw off of Sangoro's effect. 6,000 leader, and then on attack, draw 1 card. 6,000 leader, I will take. 5,000 leader. I really want to prioritize defending my board, so I'll take this as well. 1 don, law, and then search for Usahachi. He's our only target. Unfortunately, Giant's not searchable because it's not 2-cost or higher. Luffytaro. And then on play effect, -1 don, and then play Sangoro. And then enter. Okay, very good card. We don't have anything to guarantee our next search, unfortunately, so we will have to just blind it. The main thing is I don't really want to rest this yet, but if I don't, then he just comes at my life. Oh, it's a bit awkward, isn't it? 5k leader, 1k, 6k leader, 2k, 7k leader, and then leader effect. Flip out Doflamingo. Good enough, I guess. Reorder 5. Okay, 7,000 leader. Unfortunately, I will take this one. Okay, 4 don. Jinbei, and then Jinbei on play effect, play Weevil, and then Weevil on play effect, draw 1 card, and then enter. So the reason why this feels winning for Purple Luffy is because although we both spread our board like crazy, Luffy's board is just a bit higher in power. Even though it's a bit dangerous right now, if we can survive the next couple of turns, it gets more and more winning as we go. 5k Doflamingo, take 6k Jinbei, and then because I have 8 don, draw 1 card. If I'm going to defend something, I kind of want to defend this, and for now it seems like I can, so I'll let the Jinbei go. 6k Weevil, and then on attack, draw 1 card. 1k, 8k Weevil, 2k, 1k. I was actually thinking about playing the 7-cost Sanji and then hitting 8k with Rush here. So this is a bit of a mistake for me, because actually I think it's probably just stronger for me to just play another Luffytaro. So I'm going to just do that instead, and unfortunately that means I'm going to have 1 extra dong. 7 dong Luffytaro, and then on play effect, -1 dong, and then I will play Zorojuro. Zorojuro, search 5 cards, and Usopp. Enter. So I'm in a really bad spot actually as Doflamingo suddenly, even though it felt fine until the turn before. I think it's a bit too early for me to try to go for lethal, and I can try to just stall out a bit with things like Hancock, Sengoku, maybe find a Jinbe, and then push harder the next turn. So I'll do that, I think. So actually, I remember the top 3 cards in my deck, and I don't really want them, so I think I'll Sengoku to send them to the bottom and then hopefully find something better in the next 3. Let's just grab a 2000 counter, then 4 dong Hankoku, and then check 3. Jinbe would play the character active, so definitely play Jinbe. 1 dong rested onto my leader. 6k leader, 2k. 6k leader, 2k. 7k leader, 1 dong Gum Gum Giant, and then -2 dong, and then trash 1 card. And draw 2 cards, plus 4000 power. 7k leader, leader effect, flip out Jinbe, and then Jinbe effect, play Weevil. Weevil effect, draw 1 card. I was really hoping I'd get a 2000 counter off of the 2 draws off of the giant, but unfortunately we'll counter it like this just to get out of perfume range. End turn. He has 5 cards in hand. My board's full, so I think the best thing to do is just for me to bully as many cards out of his hand as I can. Let's just start with 8k at Weevil. I think maybe if we can make one of these survive, then it would be great for going for lethal next turn, but it's too hard to defend from the first attack, so I'll let this go. 8k Weevil. Yep, let it go. Let's go 6k Jinbe to try to bully some resources out of his hand. I don't have the resource to defend this anyway, so I'll let it go. Unfortunately, Operation Get Cards Out of His Hand was unsuccessful, so I guess we're just going to lock down the board with Queen. We still have a fair number of 2000 counters in the deck too, so I think that I'll search at some point. But first let's start with our draw, just because we want to draw before we search. 6000 leader, take 6000 leader and then draw a card. 2k I guess. 6k leader, take 1 dong, roll, and then search 4. Oh shoot. Okay, well, I guess we got a 1000 counter. Then 5 dong, Queen, on play effect, -1 dong, to draw 2, and then trash 1, trash Luffytaro, and then enter. Okay, well, we need to go for lethal no matter what this turn. What's the best way to do this? He has 1 blocker, so I just need to get all of my hits through, which means I can go 999. He is 1 dong up, so it seems pretty impossible regardless. Let's just go 8, 9, 10, because if he doesn't have it, then he doesn't have it. 8000 leader. I'm in a spot where no matter how he attacks me, I'll survive, so I want to try to force him to put as much dong on his character as possible. But I do want to be careful of perfume, so I think I'll block this. 9000 leader, okay, take. 10,000 leader. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Enter. I haven't done the math on this, but this is surely going to go through. 11,000 leader. I actually barely can't defend that, so I'll take this. 14,000 leader. I lose. Okay, so these are the 2 lists that I use in this. I haven't really had time to cook up a new Doflamingo list, so this is the same as my old one. I still think it's very solid though, as a very good baseline for the current meta. I do want to have 4 Gecko Moria if possible, I just don't really know where to move around. Perhaps I reduce the 3-cost Doflamingo, but otherwise I generally like the deck. The red rock's a bit more useless now that this version of Purple Luffy is becoming popular, so this may change as well, but most of the cards in this deck are set. Now, I think that the 7-cost Luffytaro is extremely strong. This comes out on what should be your 5-dong turn when you're going first. So on your 5-dong turn, you essentially play 7-cost 8000 as well as a 5-cost 6000 presumably in Sangoro. As such, it's extremely hard even for black decks to be able to clear this. I don't even think there's a way for them to really effectively clear it without just using like 2 Ice Ages or something. Generally, this stays on the board, and this is just so strong that if you're first, a lot of matchups are a blowout. That's why I ended up going second and it looked a bit closer, because if I end up going first and end up executing on these Zorojuro into Luffytaro Sangoro, then it just becomes a bit too easy. As such, I took second, and second, Doflamingo still has a fighting chance, as you saw. Some cards in the Luffy deck that you may not usually see are the 4-cost Bonplay. The reason that I have this in is because in the Mirror as well as the Red-Purple Luffy matchup, this card's incredibly strong, so I think it's definitely worth putting in, and just when you're going first, just having 10 targets that you can play on your 3-dong turn, turn 2, are very good, and of course, if you were to play Banque, then you don't need to use a leader effect a second time to play Luffytaro on the next turn, making it much more secure to play it if you're in a situation where you can do that. Generally, though, you do want to play Zorojuro because he doesn't have counter. Another card that you may not see is Sanji, and I actually have this in exclusively for the mirror, essentially, because it rests, for example, if I have 1-cost law on the board, I can rest the opponent's Banque, hit it with 1-cost law, and then have 7,000 rush that hits into the opponent's face while they're developing their board and playing things like Luffytaro. However, this isn't that strong going second, so I'm not sure if I'll actually keep this, but I've been testing it, and it's been okay for fighting the board, but generally you treat it more as the 5th and 6th copy of Luffytaro. The 9-cost Mom actually is extremely strong in this deck, and I think that more people should try it. The 9-cost Mom in this deck, effectively, if you're at 8 Dong, for example, which happens a lot after you play Luffytaro, you can use your leader effect to play 9-cost Mom, which means effectively you played it for only 8 Dong, because you end up getting the life back. You got a refresh because you draw the life, and then you get to put a 6-cost into their life. This really helps with stalling the game out in a lot of cases, and in general I think it's a very good card, so I definitely think that maybe this should be used more. The one issue is that you do have to use your leader effect 3 times to get it out fast enough after Luffytaro, and that's a bit much, so I'm not sure if this will end up staying in the build. I don't really love 9 costs in this list in general, but it's still just a very strong card. I think a lot of people will immediately start comparing Red Purple Luffy and Purple Luffy as they have somewhat similar cards in their deck, and just being purple Luffys. However, they have extremely different matchups. Red Purple Luffy, for example, is not particularly favored against Doflamingo, but of course beats things like Purple Luffy and Shanks, whereas Purple Luffy beats Doflamingo, but will end up losing to Red Purple Luffy and Shanks. Nonetheless, though, Purple Luffy has been going up in popularity like crazy in Japan, and I think that these are the 2 decks that you're going to want to be teching for if you're going to a tournament right now. I don't know if the meta is going to stay this way. Maybe someone's going to find an answer to both of these. I definitely think it's possible, and I'm going to be cooking up something that can potentially deal with this. I do think that because Doflamingo might need to take out Red Rock to deal with Purple Luffy now, Bonnie might be on the table with a 8-cost Kid build, because 8-cost Kid is really strong into both of these. We'll have to see how it ends up going. I'll cook it up, and I still have a lot of videos that I need to try to get out, so it might take a little bit, but I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.